Why the focus on work visas as your priority?
Good morning, Naledi, and thank you very much for the kind wishes. As we all know, this is a portfolio with a mountain of work, but I've got my boots on, so I'm ready to tackle that. Yes, indeed. I mean, the visas issue is one among many of the priorities we need to tackle in this department. I think the first and most important one of those is getting the basics right. And those basics relate not only to the processing of visas that can serve as an economic catalyst for South Africa in places where we have scarce skills or people with exceptional skills, but also in the day-to-day operations. And I think this is the most important place for us to start this conversation, because I think most South Africans understand the problems at Home Affairs on the basis of the endless queues that they sometimes face, on the basis of this terrible South Africanism called system offline. And I really am very passionate about starting with those kind of basics. I want the system to be online. I don't want it to be offline. I want the queues to shorten and eventually to be defeated altogether. And those are things that you tackle with business process reforms, with investments in IT infrastructure and upgrading the network and the capacity of Home Affairs offices. And then, of course, also on the other side, speeding up the processing of some of these critical economic enablers, including things like critical skills visas, where, I serve on the Council of Stellenbosch University, for example, and we have lost academics who had to leave the country, who had specific skills that we wanted to transfer to South Africans, but they had to leave the country because they were not able to get the documents they needed. Those are the kind of economic impacts that we can have if we tackle this issue. And more broadly, we can restore dignity to the experience of Home Affairs. I think that for me is really the fundamental point. Home Affairs is what makes us all South African.
Yeah.
We get our ID documents there. It's the first government department we interact with when our parents go to collect our birth certificates. And it is also the last one that touches our lives if our loved ones have to go and collect a certificate when we pass away. So it's fundamentally about dignity and our identity.